You can make believe that you're anywhere but here with anyone but me. I'm sorry.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Life by the Eden. Now for Motivational Mondays, episode number 2, season 2, what we're going to do is hear a few tips I've learned over my years of school on how to survive it. So be sure to follow Life by the Eden, as well as checking out my previous video, which will tie into tip number 1 in the description box, as well as somewhere up here in the eye icon. And without further ado, let's get on to the video. Tip number 1 is going to be preparing your equipment beforehand. So summer goes by fast. Like this summer, I went by, I didn't even know it finished. And it's like, wait, school's in 2 days? Oh no, what's happening? So if you make sure that you buy all your stuff in advance, you'll not only beat the school rush, but you will ensure that you have all the equipment needed for high school. And if you look in that previous Motivational Mondays episode, which is somewhere in the description box, as well as, I think it's this icon, might be this side, but I think it's this side, is just make sure that you have everything. It shows you some tips and what equipment you need. On to tip number 2. What you're going to do is making new friends. So pretty much with high school, all these elementary schools are clumped together, and with that in mind, you meet so many new friends. I remember with my freshman year, we had a lot of these grade 9 orientations, a barbecue, fun days, so that way we get more comfortable and we kind of just immerse ourselves as we enter high school. Always recommended. You meet so many new people that way, and from freshman to now, I have made and gotten to know so many more people than I could imagine. Tip number 3. What you're going to do is sport teams and clubs. So before you actually sign up for them, make sure that your schedule is good, that you're academically fine, because they do take up a lot of time, especially with sport teams when you got competitions, meets, races, etc. You want to make sure you're able to balance both the sporting and clubbing. It's clubbing. I mean, going to clubs and sports and, you know, that stuff. Fun stuff. Extracurricular activities, we'll call it. And then the academic side. So you want to make sure they're both even, or else you might get completely tank and grades, or you might really get stressed. So you just want to find a good balance in between. But I totally recommend it. It's great on university applications. As well, it helps you make high school much more fun for you. Tip number 4. Always get clustered between classes. So when the bell rings, or at the end of the day, or before lunch, if you're, say, going in freshman year, a tip I always have is keep moving. And a lot of students are trying to get to places. So this is a tip that kind of more applied to like my school where I'm going and everything. And since there are a lot of people coming to my school, it's just moving through the hallways, because our hallways aren't as big as maybe another school. And with that in mind, everyone kind of gets clustered and there's like this wall of people and you're like, hey, I'm trying to get to class, please move. So you just want to make sure that you're watching and keeping an eye out for that. And if you keep moving, then you won't have to worry about being in someone else's way, as well as people being in your way. Which leads me into my next topic, which is tip number 5, which is decorating the locker. So this is an optional thing. What I do firsthand though is you will get a lock depending on what kind of locker you have at your school. And I have a super fun lock. It's good, but at the same time it can be irritating, especially when someone jams it into a lock. So like when you walk by, they're kind of like behind the ledge and you have to like push them out, which kind of sucks because it's like you don't know who's doing that to be funny or like other stuff, which can be kind of annoying. But once you're inside the locker, if you're going to decorate it, of course you can't hammer stuff in. You're not allowed, right? It's not actually yours. But what you do have some tape here, or you can tape up photos, you can put in your whiteboards, mirrors, anything you really want. And you can find a lot of stuff like Staples, Walmart, even Dollarama or dollar stores. And another thing that we have is a locker shelf. So locker shelves, like when you buy an extra one, like you always get a ledge based on mine, it's like a full one. But I always recommend having a little like stool ledge in there So that way you can put your books on, because when winter comes, then you got all this wet stuff, you got all the gross, salty snow, right? Hallways get pretty ugly. So you want to make sure that your books are supported because they're yours, and if they get damaged, you're stuck paying them. So I always recommend having a locker shelf. It just keeps me more organized and everything. And of course, if you're like me and you're really short, you might not be able to reach the top shelf alone. So, tip number 6. So this kind of puts 3 tips into one. So the first one, pay attention in class. So a lot of classes I might zone out because, it's beautiful weather outside right now. Or, I might be thinking about other stuff. I might have a team, might be thinking about another class. Or I might not just be paying attention in class, right? A lot of reasons, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way in class sometimes. So with that in mind, you want to make sure you pay attention, because what the teacher is teaching will end up on a test, and you're going to be like, oh shoot, I should have studied. Oh no. So make sure that you do pay attention, because there are lessons that are very important with your subjects, and if you don't listen, you're not going to know what you're doing. Take that from experience, guys. So another thing you have to do is, with your class and distractions, a lot of high school students have this little gem. So this is my iPhone. It's not as big as this newest ones, but it does me good. It has a cute little case here. And this little cellular device is my little distraction right here. So what you want to make sure is that you move it, put it in your bag or put it in your pocket, turn it off, because sometimes phones will go off and teachers don't like it when that happens. And if you keep it away from you, you're going to stay focused, and if you're caught with it, usually some teachers will give you a warning first, and then if it comes out again, then they'll take it away. Although some teachers will take it away. So just be really careful about that, because if it gets confiscated, your parents are going to have to come in and pick it up, which sucks. Another thing with teachers actually is they don't chase you in high school, especially with the older grades and of course university and beyond. If you don't hand in assignments on time and you consistently hand them in late and eventually you don't hand them in at all, 0. They won't even mark it because it's so late. So just stay on track, hand in assignments on time. If you do need help, ask your teacher. That's what they're there for. And I know I've come in during lunch times for help, maybe a bit of after school, and they're always there, and by the end I get more understanding. And I think it just develops a good teacher-student relationship with respect, and it's you telling them, hey, I want to be there, I want to learn, which I think they find really good with students to see. Tip number 7. So just like the whole paying attention, as I mentioned, you have tests in high school, so nothing different, but you also have exams. That's different. So with these, you want to study. That's why you pay attention. You listen to the teacher's lessons. You ask for help when needed, because when you study, a lot of these tests and exams can have a huge impact with your final grade and universities. So you want to make sure you're doing good and really try to be solid. So you might not want to study, but study. Tip number 8 would be doing homework regularly. So before a test, teacher gives you a lot of homework or presentations. Be sure to do them, because although these questions or these homework assignments may be tedious, it's going to help you in the long run, because without knowing it, you're going to understand all these harder concepts and be able to ace the test, because you know this stuff. You've studied, you've done work, right? So always make sure you do that. I'm still learning that lesson, unfortunately, because sometimes I don't do the work. Probably should. And I totally recommend it, because if you do the work, you're going to be all set for the test. Tip number 9. Can't believe we're already at over 10 minutes. But tip number 9 is primarily about the future. So that's kind of scary, especially with me. This starts getting into grades 11 and 12 rather than freshman year, is when you're just panicking. You're you don't know what you want to do with your life. You're oh my god, I got these grades, I need to do well, which is true, but sometimes just take a deep breath, because the future is something bigger than what we can imagine. If you need to, go to your guidance, talk to them, look at some view books, maybe go and take courses that you like and enjoy, because if you find stuff you like, then pursue a career with that, right? Maybe that's what you're meant to do. It's all up to you. My tip with the future is just don't let it kill you, because sometimes it can be stressful, it can be really hard, you might not know, and that's okay right now. Like, you're okay not to know. Just kind of just take a deep breath, do what you like, and enjoy what you have in high school, and talk to your guidance counselors and everything if you do want help to maybe find out what you like. Tip number 10. This is the biggest tip ever with high school. I recommend to everybody is, and myself, because I always want to tell myself these tips, is be yourself. So with high school comes a lot of, I think when you look at TV in high school, you see all these stereotypes, like the jock, the mean girl, the popular girl, the nerd, like those things. And high school can be full of drama, but I think if you stay true to yourself and like don't ever try and change for someone, and like if people don't get along with you, like that's natural. We're human. We're not gonna get along with everybody. It's not gonna be like a puzzle piece where we all stick. So just stay true to yourself. Don't let anybody try and bring you down. Be nice to others. They'll be nice to you. And just enjoy high school, because it goes by in a flash. It was just yesterday. I was a little freshman coming into my high school, very excited, and now look at me. I'm in grade 12, going to grade 12, my final year, and looking back at everything, I don't regret a thing. So when you're there, just let yourself live in the moment, because once it's gone, it's gone, right? And then your real life hits as university comes down, and then eventually you're an adult trying to figure things out, right? So live it up and have fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video as much as I had fun making it. So these are just 10 tips on how to survive high school from me to you. And be sure to leave me a huge thumbs up, as well as comment down below on what tips you guys have for surviving high school this year. As well as following Life by the Eden on Instagram for more. Without further ado, guys, have a super terrific, awesome day, and good luck with your first few weeks of high school. See you guys!